All right, let's see. Going live. Yep, everything's looking good. How's everyone doing? It's Thursday afternoon, 4:15. Coming to you guys with another episode of my June series on making decisions you'll love and getting over indecision. Week one was very much my thoughts on the five best ways to approach a problem and how to create decision making tree. Starting with kind of your core values, then moving into knowing really what your end result looks like, evaluating all of your options, having the courage to choose, and then the follow through, right? And then last week, I went into decision fatigue. And it's a huge issue around as we start to pull together all the pieces of information and we look at all the options that we have and executing and follow is so critical for us to remove thing that's going to exert more energy on us and to get us through to our goal. But this week I'm going to go over something a little bit different. Just this is what I've noticed happens all the time. Decision, or we think we're about to make a decision, and what happens? All of these other start to pop up, right? Uh, have you ever started looking for a car and you start researching, you're like, I have a decision. This is my budget. This is what I'm going to do. And then you start to see other things, some other cars. You're like, oh, that car is a little bit nicer. Ooh, that car has these options. I just can't find everything that I want all in one package. Um, that's a lot when we're talking about dating and spouses and everything else. Uh, I always think about it this way. It's like your dating inevitably pop up that you'll get that my wife never got to ask me was, where is this going? And I know after talking with guys and myself, situation always has to ask that question to themselves, right? Um, the Clash, the Clash's famous song is "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" Um, and I love that song because if I stay, double, and if I go, it will be doubled, right? And I think this fear of missing out, and that's what FOMO stands for, is like fear of missing out comes into play completely. We're always going to think about I choose option better, option that I don't even know about yet. I know I've heard. Well, what about we sit back and we just stay in paralysis in this state of indecision until someone makes the decision for us. Example before about, if you're dating someone and they give you that question of where's this relationship going, a lot of times we'll answer with the, I don't know. And in our head, kind of know. We need data, all the information, so that we can make the right decision. Asking someone to marry you is a huge decision, right? Um, you don't know what's going to turn out. You don't know what the next 10 years, 20 years, 5 years is going to look like. So you're weighing the pros and cons. You're always sitting there. You know, I'm going to list all of those all, and I want the complete or define the end goal. We don't really know what we tell. Don't do this, then this. So now's your pain point. You're afraid of missing this. What happens when we are indecisive? Another option or something better. We frustrate ourselves and we end up frustrating the people around us, right? And I'm going to bring up the concept that what people don't understand is that indecision is a choice. Allow other people or other circumstances to dictate things for you. And I'm going to kind of go into the of why this happens and what you do to kind of overcome. Your brain is lazy, right? So number one, your brain is lazy. It is always looking for the path of least resistance. Okay? So whenever you're faced with a big question or a big goal or big decision to make, your brain will always throw up obstacles and it'll always throw up reasons why you shouldn't do anything. Right? That's we're programmed to conserve energy. We're programmed to keep ourselves safe. Where you are right now is safe. Might not be comfortable. You might not be known for your brain. Because what's in the unknown? A black room. What do we think about when we think about a dark room? Monster in the closet, right? What do we think of? If you ever close your eyes and put, what are you going to get? Are you going to get nothing? A handful of leaves? Or maybe bit by a spider? Our brain try to and that's the choice most of us make. Then the other one is when we have something in front of us, we are to make. We're going to be tempted, and this is number two. You're going to be tempted with other options. So there are always going to be other options, especially in our world today, with all of the things that we've been told and taught that you can have it all. Oh, this is one-stop shopping. This one watch, this Apple Watch will solve all your problems. You can get your text, your phone, your music, your heartbeat, everything's your EKG's on here, your sleep schedule. Like you'll get everything from this one little device. But that's not really how life works because you have to choose something. And when you choose something, you are going to give up some other things. That's just the way it is. If you choose option A, you probably won't be able to do option B. But you have to really, really want option A. And this previous slides, if you went into the very first one about how to make a decision, you have to want that end result. So if you don't really have defined an end result, if you've kept kind of a path here, so if you have a road, right, and now you're faced with two choices. If this is a cloud and this is a cloud, right, both choices aren't that appealing. But if you had a crystal clear destination, right, I'm going to draw my Oz here, my Emerald City, right? If you had to choose between Emerald City and Wicked Witch, oh, now you can make a decision. Yeah, you might miss out on some stuff on the Wicked Witch path. There might be some good eats along this road, but you want to end up here. And I think that kind of goes back to when you're putting things together, that commitment and that courage to execute. So as you're going down the path, you're going to be tempted with other options. What are those other options, right? Those other options are so something that on the surface looks really good, right? But because you don't know what's underneath. So for example, I'll use my analogy of the dating. It's a really hot girl who talked to you. So on the surface, she looks amazing. And you're like, wow, you're just so good looking. But underneath, you don't know what's going on. But all you're focused on is that external surface. If you're house hunting, it's that house that looks amazing because somebody put a fresh coat of paint on it, right? in the oil and gas field, right, we used to call it lipstick on a pig, right? So you dress something up, but underneath, it's not very good. But we could get distracted with this if we're in the middle of doing something hard or if we're in the middle of something that's going to take time and energy, right? The other options are quitting, right? Just stop doing it because the effort isn't worth it. right? And that's a thought that always trickles and percolates into our brain is, oh, is this worth it? Is this worth all the effort I'm putting through? And again, you can only go through these and cross them off if you have the right end result in mind, right? If you know what you're going for. Those things all become negligible if what you've got and you're committed to is something you truly want. And the third one I learned from Peyton Manning. I was at a conference last year, and he was the keynote speaker. And he actually, I think this is one of the ones I took away that was amazing, was there are no good and bad choices. There are just choices. And because there are no good and bad choices, there are choices and results. So they're just choices, so we just make choices, and we just get results. And sometimes those results are positive. Sometimes they work for us. In fact, they always are for us. Make a choice, we get a result. And then, as we go on in life, you make another choice. You know, I think it's that whole, and I'll use the relationship analogy again, the happily ever after. Boy meets girl, girl, boy marries girl, they live happy ever after. But that's a choice. He says, I choose you, and then that's it. But in life, you have to constantly be making choices. There's choice A, there's choice B, there's million, like I said at the beginning of last week, we make 35,000 choices every single day. So we're always making choices, right? We hesitate on the important ones, but you can always just evaluate the result and make another choice. Evaluate the result and make another choice. If you're exhausted from making so many choices, go back and review my decision fatigue live, which goes over how to simplify your day so you can make less meaningless choices, so you can have more energy for the meaningful choices. So that's what I wanted to leave you guys with today. And I really want this week to kind of ask yourself this question. This is kind of your takeaway, your homework per se, is to go and think about something that you've been struggling with making a decision on because you think that there are other better options. And give yourself a deadline of the week and come up with a choice and get if you make that choice and it works out in your favor. And then, because you will always be tempted, your brain is always going to fight you, and you're never going to see the result of that choice if you don't make it. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. It's make a decision on something that you've been watching. Is still a decision, but it's not where you want to stay. You want to get out of the decision. Start flexing that muscle. Start making choices. Don't wait and have them be made for you. Okay? So I hope this helped. Like I said, if you guys are watching in the replay, drop a comment. If you guys have any questions, if you want to reach out to me, you definitely can. Go to my website at petebeskis.com. If you want to book a call, if you want to dive into this further. If you're stuck in indecision, I'm definitely the person who can help you get through that. Again, I love people so that they're not sitting and having life happen, that they're in control and they're making the decisions they need to move forward. So really appreciate your time. See you all next week.